Check it out. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we talked about this fella here, the politician in Japan that wanted to address the national diet about the abuse of the Shinto shrine in Assassin's Creed Shadows. This fella, Takeshi Nagase, he brought up that destruction of the Shinto shrine we saw here from Scatha's playthrough. Now, what I want to make sure we understand here is that this footage right here contains Scatha's live streamed playthrough of this, what he uploaded. And so what we need to understand is Scatha did not understand that this is a very important religious space. Just simply understood that this could be destroyed, and he just kind of cut through it and did what he did. All right, Yasuke can destroy everything else. Why not this space? Okay. Now, what we're running into here is that this is a 1400-year-old shrine. Okay. In real life, this is a very important place. They don't sell T-shirts and have a gift shop. You don't get a shirt that says "All I did was visit this shrine, and got this T-shirt." None of that. This is a very important space in Japan. And so that's why this senator sat down with the leaders of the shrine. And so this is the synopsis of what they had to say right here on screen is that they want to confront Ubisoft over this blatant disrespect of their religious space. Now, again, I have to stress this as I have in previous videos. Japan values their culture. The West does not. Okay? I'm sorry. I know that upsets people in the comments section, but that's reality. You and I both live in the West where everything has a price tag on it. Even Jesus Christ is mocked for profit. Okay? Google it. And that's what we live in over here, okay? So we're very used to seeing culture abused. We're very used to seeing churches destroyed, religious figures blasphemed, historical figures turned into all sorts of different divergent versions of themselves. Maybe virgins too, I don't know. But either way, we're very used to things being very liquid for corporate exploitation. In Japan, this is not the case. There are things that are very clearly off limits that people who have grown up in that culture understand just sort of as an unspoken rule. And so Japan's culture is much more rigid in how it's interpreted and how it's displayed, and specifically how history is displayed, as places like these Shinto shrines are legally protected. So, in order to use them in fiction, you have to let the people know that you're doing that so they can judge that and if they want to be involved or not. They don't really charge you a fee, to my knowledge. They don't charge you like a legal setup or whatever. You have to let them know you have the intention of using their space in a work of fiction and what that intention is. And from there, they get to tell you if that's okay or not. Obviously, they're not going to let you show a story of it being destroyed. Okay? Obviously, that's not going to happen. But here we are. Now, again, these guys met together and they talked about this. Now, this guy is the one who takes care of the shrine itself, and this fella here, to my knowledge, over on the right, is this fella right here. He is the head of the prefecture's shrine administration. So the guys that run the Shinto shrines within this Hyogo I'm very sorry. I'm working trying to get this prefecture thing right here. I'm very sorry. I'm trying trying to get all this stuff correct. This is Hyogo Prefecture, I believe. Hyogo Prefecture. I have my notes here. I just had it in the wrong space. So I believe this is uh Himeji, I believe. Himeji Hyogo Prefecture. And this is the Itatse Hyozu Itate Hyozu shrine. I'm sure I've murdered that. I'm sure I've murdered that. I'm very sorry. I'm trying, but it's very important because again, it has it is a Shinto shrine with a very very long history, and of course, with how tumultuous Japan's history has been, even in just the modern age, it's impressive that it's survived this long, only to be destroyed in a video game produced by Canadians. Just think about that for a minute. But yes, as they're talking about this here, where you see the destruction of the shrine, and of course, as I said before, Japan very much values their culture. They value how it's depicted, especially, and great deal of people who are worshippers of the Shinto faith were very upset to see this. Now, again, I understand you're the buttons you push. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Well, the problem is that way back in the day when Assassin's Creed got started, you weren't allowed to abuse history, and in fact, we'll journey over here to Reddit, the cursed section of the internet, And Reddit goes on to explain this stuff for us. And it says, you are playing through the memories of someone who has been dead for thousands of years. It is impossible for you, as the person experiencing the simulation, to do something that could never have been done. Because Bayek did not factually die at that point in time, you desynchronize from the memory and have to reload your last, most stable synced position. It's a lore thing. Synchronization refers to how flawlessly you are reliving the target subject's memories, and you will increase your synchronization with the character you're reliving by getting their skills, finishing their missions, and experiencing events that they did. In mechanical terms, desynchronization means you died or did something that was not possible, like how killing Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3 gives you a game over due to causing a time paradox, since Ocelot survives into MGS 1, 2, and 4. Likewise, in mechanical terms, full synchronization or total synchronization means you've successfully experienced everything relevant to gameplay that was encoded in the subject's DNA. So every skill, every mission, every story event, etc. Okay? That's how it's originally supposed to work. So Yasuke attacking that shrine should immediately trigger a desynchronization event. You should get that thing on the screen that Yasuke would never destroy this shrine. It's people living in this period. You must understand. We shouldn't even have parkouring around inside of the Catholic cathedrals. Attacking the Pope, I'm 50-50 on that. I don't really know how I feel about that in retrospect. Now that I look back on how this actually affects the world and what we're actually saying through this media, I don't know if I'm cool with it, really. I think there's a better way to tell this story about these powers that be without explicitly pointing a finger at a faith and choosing that to be the like focus of that situation. And again, that wasn't the only Assassin's Creed adversary, as you know. But that's just how this kind of played out. And again, I recognize that the Templar are a Catholic organization born out of it anyway. They broke away due to why Friday the 13th is so scary is why the Templar broke away. And so look it up. But we're going through this and we're discovering this, and that's what I kind of draw the line at, is that the game used to make sure that you couldn't kill civilians in excess and you couldn't go around and create certain types of havoc. And even Screen Rant admitted, way down at the bottom of the article here, the inability to kill civilians started as an integral part of an Assassin's Creed story which heavily centered on the Brotherhood, but now feels like a leftover mechanic now that the series has moved away from that titular secret society. So not only is the innocent people thing a question here, but as I said, when we get into like the synchronization effect, what are we really trying to say with living a life as a person in this time period? I get that they have super abilities and things like that to make the gameplay more exciting, but what are they on a person? And what I'm trying to make the case of is that Naue would not be doing cartwheels over the top of a Torii gate if we're trying to create a full synchronization event. This would get her killed in real life. In fact, it should trigger a desynchronization because of that fact. If she was ever witnessed doing that, people would think she was possessed by a demon. They would start trying to hunt her down to destroy her before she got out to hurting anybody else. Or spreading it if you're that type of demon. I don't know. But again, same with Yasuke, going around and destroying all of this stuff. The first time that he walked through a wall, that would be the end of Yasuke. That's the problem with all of this, is that Ezio was a talented parkour guy. Connor was a talented parkour guy with a chip on his shoulder about the world. I liked Assassin's Creed Shadows 3. I'm sorry, that's the last one I played. 4 didn't really reach me. I just didn't get back into it. Thankfully, apparently. But this is what I'm getting at, is that as this franchise continues to expand out to try and keep itself alive, now that Desmond's not a problem for it anymore, now that having a direct connection to people in the past isn't required anymore, you just jump into any old asshole in history. It's kind of annoying to sit here and try to pretend that it's okay to destroy these religious sites. You know what I mean? Because we're crisscrossing so many different cultures now, and if we're going to say that it's not okay for Naue and Yasuke to destroy Shinto shrines, I don't think it's okay to have Ezio and the other Assassin's Creed guys jumping around inside of churches. I don't think that should be okay. I don't think they should be jumping around inside of mosques or temples. I don't think they should be jumping around inside of Buddhist sites. If they live in that time period, they are going to respect that space. You have to understand, we with our fancy modern ideologies, we don't, of course, in the West, I mean, we don't respect these spaces. Everything's got a price tag on it. Pikachu will be Pope eventually. You know, that's just kind of how people just view the world. It's all a commercial enterprise. Japanese do not do this. This is one of the things I envy about their cultures. They're very rigid about this stuff. The native Japanese interpret their culture however they like, but outsiders getting involved in it, that's not okay. That's not going to work. And again, this is what I have to drive home about this, is that this is offensive to Shinto, as having a parkour inside of a session inside of Notre Dame should be just as offensive. Really, running over the top of the roof of Notre Dame like an idiot asshole should absolutely be as offensive as having Naue doing cartwheels over the top of Torii gates. That should be absolutely just as offensive. And it isn't, because we just don't value our culture. So consider for a moment, if we want to be mad about this, we should be mad about the Assassin's Creed thing. And I think I am. I think I am upset that they have gone through and made sure that to paint faith, even though it did have a lot of power at the time, to paint faith is something totally disposable. Something like a Kodak camera. When you get your fill of it, you just pitch it off. It doesn't matter. I don't think the people who lived in that time period would be doing that. So maybe the whole franchise has kind of been BS the whole time, and it was just neat to do parkour in history. I don't know. I'm kind of revisiting why I like Assassin's Creed 3 now, you know? Maybe it was just because I like doing parkour with the founders, you know? That's all I wanted, was to have a ninja during the during the Revolutionary War. Maybe that's what it was, and it wasn't actually Assassin's Creed for me, you know? Ask yourself that question. Was it ever Assassin's Creed, or was it just having ninja powers in Europe and Jerusalem and now the Middle East there with Mirage? So it's one of those things where you just have to keep asking them, why did you say to the world that we want to avoid telling a culture about their own culture if all you're going to do is tell a culture about their culture through various abuses, right? But I digress to the original point here. This fella is making the case of, please respect our culture. And Japan's culture is unlike the West. They don't like the exploitation of their ways. They prefer to have a respectful rendition of it, at least sent out into the world, if not domestically. And so here we have it. This is the plea that this man is making, and he's raised it all the way up to the senator level, like the guy that goes all the way up to the federal level, what they call the national diet, if you will. That's their Congress and Senate, if you will, federal level. And so they're bringing up now the Committee on Economics is reviewing the effort here and what this is. If it's going to, I'm not sure what the goal is. Let's put it that way. Okay. I can only dig so deep into this stuff, guys. I only know so much and only can interpret so much from what the translations give me, because I don't have the full cultural context of what they're talking about. It's difficult to get the translator to work more than a one-to-one word. So what I'm getting out of this is that they have moved this up to the Economic Committee, and the Economic Committee is now reviewing whether or not Assassin's Creed Shadows has committed some type of offense against the Shinto religion in Japan. That's all I know. Okay? I can extrapolate further on what that means, how far that'll go, but all I have right now is just for sure that's as far as it's gone. All right? And that was with this video right here, where he's addressing the
皆さ
local.
んは世界的に人気を博しているゲ
This is his
ーム
local.
シリ
This
ーズ
is
の新作
Hyogo
アサ
Prefecture
シ
is
ン
where he
クリー
is.
ドシャドウズというゲームソフトをご存知でしょうか。問題は UBI がゲーム内の出来事は日本史に詳しい人に監修させており、すべて
So he's bringing up. I'm just going to surmise this because I don't think you guys want to sit through this whole thing. He's wearing, by the way, formal Japanese attire. As you can see, the other people are sort of dressed in business wear, professional wear, if you will, as is the usual decorum for the space. And he's wearing this to represent the cultural value of the Shinto shrines as he's raising this question. And so, to summarize this, what happened with his discussion is that he brought up that Ubisoft said they had someone who was invested in the culture helping them. What they depict is a destruction of Shinto, and this is absolutely not okay. and that as the local uh, gathering here, this local political in Hyogo Prefecture, this should be raising the question higher up, and they should be investigating the offenses and representing the people who have faith in the Shinto religion as being deeply offended by these depictions in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And that's what basically what he says in this whole thing. And at the end of it, he is letting us know about this senator here in this video here.
会の議
Give
員
that a
や、
second.
そしてまた経済産業省の方にも問い合わせをいたしました。今、これは関係者の
And so basically, again, I'll summarize what he has to say here because I ran the transcript through. And basically, what he's talking about is what I just said is that they're going now on the national level, running this through the Economic Committee to investigate if they have committed offenses in the marketplace against the Shinto religion. And again, that's as far as I have. I don't have any further information on that. We'll have to wait. This came out just a few days ago. They have not moved further with this publicly, at least. I don't know for sure, but that's what we have so far. So I don't know what to make of it, really. I don't know if the Japanese government will take it up. You have to understand is that Japan is a lot different. Again, Japan's a lot different from the West because Japan seeks efficiency. At the core of their culture, beyond sort of the neat samurai stuff, giant robots, and all the awesome cities and fast trains, is a deep desire to seek efficiency. And what is inefficient is pursuing things that don't necessarily have a clean and clear end. Like going and pursuing Ubisoft about this, what would be the intended outcome? Should they be banned from selling this game in Japan? I'm not sure that the national diet would go with that. I don't think that the national level considers that to be an offense worthy of banning the game. However, they may ask that for sales in Japan that there is a warning at the beginning of the game for Shinto believers, letting them know that there are violent depictions enacted against Shinto shrines and Shinto believers within this game. And so that's bad, you know. So beware that you're going to see that, right? And that's going to be kind of what they do. That seems like the most efficient path that they would choose. I don't believe they're going to act like that at any time soon, though. The game's already prepared to be for sale there in just a few days, so I don't think that they're going to enact this in time. So I don't really know what the goal is, to be completely honest. It's nice to see that the Japanese political scene is taking notice of these abuses, but in all honesty, I'm not sure that there's anything that can be done about it in the time period that we have left. Do I want to see Ubisoft punished by the Japanese government? Not really. I would moreover want to see the people of Japan decide on their own to reject this, because when you start opening up a gateway to ban things that offend people, we're going to end up creating the same vicious cycle we have right here in the USA. Okay? So for now, I would want the people that are just the consumers, the people who buy this stuff, to take a look at this and say, you know what? I don't want to support the destruction of Shinto religion in my country for the sake of playing a neat samurai game that really doesn't have a lot to do with the culture that I actually live in. You know, and that's, I think I would want that to happen moreover than I would want the government to say, this offends this certain group of people, so this can no longer be for sale here. Because that's going to spread to a lot of stuff real fast. So you'll have to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, guys, good luck out there.